If you were born in the mid to late 2000s, Pokemon X and Y was probably one of the childhood shows you watched growing up. And if you weren't lucky enough to watch this series as it aired, you really won't understand why everyone from that era of Pokemon's always glazing the shit out of it. Like, younger Pokemon fans love to hate on this series for some reason, and I don't really understand how they can. X and Y was pretty much the reason why many fans of the anime even started watching it again after the disaster of Black and White, and I don't think newer fans can understand how hyped everyone was watching the series as it came out. I personally don't think I'd be a fan of Pokemon if I'd never watched the series before, and it really fixed everything that went wrong in the generation prior, and it was honestly just an amazing watch. The graphics, the art style, the storytelling, everything was pretty much top notch, and I don't think we've ever gotten a product as good as this from the anime since. I really can't describe the feeling of watching the series as it aired. It was just something you had to be there for, you wouldn't really get it. Seeing Ash Greninja for the first time or Ash beating Sawyer to make it to the finals for the first time was just so surreal. It literally turned the opinion of the audience on its head from Black and White. So yeah, it might be my nostalgia. Actually, no, it's not. XY is dead ass peak Pokemon. It really was the best the show and IP as a whole had ever been in quality, and I think that's why it hurt so much when it all took a nosedive down afterwards, both in the anime and the games. So, as kind of a second part to my last video, let's talk about how Pokemon X and Y fixed Ash's character that Black and White decided to butcher and devour like Jeffrey D. For all intents and purposes, we can ignore Black and White Ash and just move on from Sinnoh Ash to Kalos Ash in the continuity, as their character and methods show actual growth. I think the writers really did decide to take it serious and focus on Ash becoming a better trainer and battler now that they realize that no one likes a stupid Ash anymore. They won't screw that up, right? Anyways, after jumping off the Prism Tower and doing some crazy shit, Ash eventually brings together a traveling group consisting of Clement, the Lumio City gym leader, his sister Bonnie, and Serena, an aspiring 10-year-old who got her first Pokemon. Yeah, no, none of these people are 10 either. Like, Serena is dead at 17 in the games, and if anything, anime Serena just looks more grown up than Serena in the games. And even Clement looks older than he is in the games. Like, I honestly would just disregard the 10-year-old thing that the anime says in Black and White and just say it's been retconned out, but then we get to see Sun and Moon Ash a few years later, so I can't really do that. Either way, there's something unique about this traveling group that really stands out. Can you tell what it is? Yeah, no fucking Brock. Anyways, letting Ash be the mentor for his traveling group really shows how far he's come as a trainer. He's a lock now for a top 8 spot in regional tournaments, even with shitty teams, and he's learned so much about coordinating, breeding, and taking care of Pokemon from people like Brock, May, and Dawn, to the point where his knowledge is so well rounded that he can help people like Serena who want to be a performer instead. Ash shows so much maturity in this show compared to even Sinnoh Ash that it's hard to believe that he's a 10-year-old. He's not an idiot in battle like he was in Black and White, and was probably the most competent he ever was and ever will be, if we're gonna be honest. Like, he was able to connect with his Pokemon in ways we've only seen a few times before. And I know you're all waiting for it, so yes, let's talk about Greninja. Greninja is just such an amazing Pokemon that the writers decided to give Ash, and it's not only representative of the knowledge and prowess he's gained over his journeys, but also represents the maturity and level headedness that he seemed to manifest himself in off screen after Unova. Due to less contact with Iris, probably. Being around her dumbass would definitely make anyone lose brain cells.
I was sure the Dragon Rush would have done more. After all, Charizard is a Dragon-type Pokemon.
Huh?
When I'm telling you I would pop off whenever Ash Greninja was on screen, like, I'm telling you I popped the fuck off. This Pokemon had so much aura and poise and was just a Pokemon version of Kalos Ash. Not many Pokemon even come close to Greninja in terms of story, character building, and just sheer power. The creative way that writers used the Battle Bond phenomenon to combat Mega Evolution was really cool, as it didn't force them to make Ash carry a keystone around for the rest of his journeys. It was a great one and done type of deal, which I honestly kind of like. It made sure that future versions of Ash wouldn't be forced into making Mega Evolution their main weapon, and I think we can thank the writers of Gen 6 for that. The rivals, Alon and Sawyer, were great, even though I think Sawyer's development got way too rushed. The battle between him and Ash in the semifinals was just amazing. Deadass had me hyped like it was a matchup between Brady and Manning. Like, it was something really, really cool. The battle against Alon was also great, even though it's kind of crazy how much plot armor that Mega Charizard had. Like, that boy had no business taking all that damage from Ash's team, just to stumble a little bit while taking out my boy Greninja with a not very effective blast burn. But I was honestly over that loss pretty quickly because I was faced with another loss immediately after. After the amazing Team Flare arc that was in stark contrast to the one in the games, Ash releases Greninja. Yeah, all that just to release him. And yeah, I know we see him again in Journeys doing a pretty shitty job of keeping Kalos safe and whatnot, but it doesn't fix the sheer amount of pain I felt watching this man turn around and follow that fucker Swishy into the woods. Anyways, I completely glossed over Ash and the Team Flare arc, so let's go over it real quick. Um, the tone in the Team Flare arc is grim and has a feeling of urgency and real danger at every step, so it's kind of weird for a 10-year-old to be stuck in it, especially when he's getting fucking crucified. So yeah, these not 10-year-olds fight off Lysander with the help of friendship, I guess, and save Kalos, sort of. It's a bit iffy, but Ash's team puts in some crazy work during this whole thing. Like, even Noivern gets his act together for once. It's easily the best evil team arc we've seen in the anime, and it's just another point of showing just how much Ash has grown and how he deals with real problems as a more mature version of himself. And before I finish off, I want to talk about the rest of Ash's team really quick. Noivern is useless as fuck, which is a shame because it just looks so damn cool and was honestly my favorite Pokemon during my first run of Pokemon X. Goodra was an absolute goat, even though it was released pretty early into the generation, but eventually did come back for a bit in the latter part of the show for some mediocre showings. Talonflame was hit or miss, really. It could be amazing if the writers wanted it to be, or it could be straight dog shit. Talonflame is just another amazing design, though, so it's alright in my books. Hawlucha is just another great design. And now that I think about it, Pikachu is probably the worst looking Pokemon on Ash's team. That's just kind of crazy. The Pokemon Company really cooked with these designs. Like, damn, they clean as hell. But unlike some Pokemon that would come after. But anyway, Hawlucha was just another great Pokemon, really solid and consistent. And I think if it got more opportunities or was given an evolution and had evolved, I think this thing could have been just an absolute beast. Also, the outfit that Bonnie made for it was just dope as hell. Last but not least, thanks to Noivern, is Pikachu. Now in the modern age of Pokemon, people tend to glaze the hell out of Pikachu and call it Ash's best Pokemon and stuff, which is just nuts to me. Um, the whole point is that Pikachu's Z move in the generation after is basically overpowered and one-shots everything. Ignoring the fact that this yellow rat has more plot armor than Batman after Generation 6. And Kalos, we can see Pikachu for what it really is. It's that Manu Ginobili type, your sixth man, if you will. Pikachu was never cut out for being the star player, and it's something I honestly want to talk about in a separate video. Either way, in Kalos, Pikachu is pretty mediocre as it's always been prior, and plays its role to let the stars being Greninja, Gootron take care of business. So we've gone through everything other than the cast of the show, right? So let's start with Clemont. There's not really much to say. Actually, there's not much to say about any of them really. They don't really affect Ash's character as he's the one who has a huge impact on them. Clemont goes from being a spineless pushover to eventually standing up to his own robot creation and getting his gym back. Serena, who has a crush on Ash or something, she stalks him until she joins his traveling group and then has no real motive or character growth for the first season of the show until she decides to like cut her hair or something. Eventually, this finally gives her some kind of like uniqueness by participating and succeeding in showcases, as before her only defining character trait was that she's just some girl who liked the main character. I honestly think Serena is overrated as fuck. Like, she's nowhere near May or Dawn in terms of character development, but she does have her own little arc where she turns her journey around and starts pursuing her newfound goals. Bonnie's just there. She's the side character of side characters, so I don't really have much to say about her.
See how much you care about bug types. I know! Viola, you're a keeper! I mean, please take care of my brother!
We're a little bit confused.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that? What's that, brother?
But yeah, those are just some of my thoughts about the series, and I might do a deep dive in-depth analysis about Kalos Ash if I ever get around to making long-ass videos, but for right now, I think this is a good point to stop. If I were to rate this series, it would probably be a 9.5 out of 10. It would have been a 10, but the supporting cast for Ash, even though they have good chemistry, just doesn't provide the depth that previous characters like Dawn, May, Brock or even the Lowland cast in the generation after does. I would have honestly been down to see either May or Dawn come back in the series, kind of like how Brock does, but Serena wasn't a bad character either by any means. Relax. Yeah, I'm looking at you. So yeah, I mean, this is peak Pokemon really. Doesn't really get any better than this. Actually gets a lot worse. So yeah, if you were to watch any one generation of Pokemon to try and understand the anime, I think this would probably be your series. This is when Ash was at his best, and the cast as well. I think did support him, even though they didn't really have their own like interesting arcs that you would care about. Other than Sinnoh, I think this would probably have to be your go-to watch. So yeah, those are my thoughts. See you guys in the next one.
The future is now, thanks to science. All right, Clemontic, gear on. Ape on arm, go.